Shout out to Cats Pod.
A big defensive play for Montana State.
Touchdown, Tommy Milan is electrifying.
Welcome to the Cats Pod. What's up, Podcats? Here we are back again after a more interesting game than we're used to, I would say. I'm joined, as always, you just get the two of us this episode. I know everybody's probably a little bit disappointed. I'm joined by the illustrious Eric Lauver, and I haven't called you illustrious in a while, and I felt like you deserved to hear that,
I think this is the time to use that. This was an interesting game off a bye week, going down to the quote unquote Red Inferno.
Oh, God, my eyes were bleeding. It was bad.
I hate it.
It was bad.
I hate it. I hate that field. I hate that place. I wish I could have been there. I really wanted to be. But alas, watched it at home. But wasn't quite as stress-free as I thought it might be.
No, it wasn't. This was a different type of game. I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. You can't just trounce everybody in your schedule. But I was a little confused through the first half. Offensively, things were kicking. Things seemed pretty great offensively. Defensively, I was a little bit scared there for a little bit.
I feel like this is the time for me to get on my soapbox.
Okay, get up on that soapbox. If you want to stand up, feel free.
Okay. Only because it shows off. Oh, wrong way. It shows off my run the damn ball shirt. So,
Yeah.
But I overestimated Eastern Washington a little bit. That being said, if this game is in Bobcat Stadium, it's not close. It's not close at all. If you watch the game really close, Eastern Washington, they're not on the level of the Cats. The Cats just came out a little sleepy in this game. It might have been 3/4 of, and I shouldn't even say sleepy because the offense was humming. I mean, we started off with a 3-and-out, which was, unfortunate, which of course, everybody wants a fast start. But the thing that jumps out to me the most is that the offense did their thing. They put up 42 points. The defense came out, and at the start of the fourth quarter is when they finally buttoned her down.
Yeah.
I mean, they buttoned her down, and it looked like the defense we had gotten used to.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to number 2 for a pick at the end of the half. We really, really needed that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those turnovers, they changed the game because you look at the beginning of this game, and with the 3-and-out right off the bat, it was a little slow. Not even a slow start, but a touch slow. But then special teams recovers that fumble. Boom, we're up 14-0. We scored 14 points in 15 seconds of actual game clock.
Right.
And so it's like those turnovers were massive in the first half.
And I still haven't gotten on my soapbox yet. So I'm going to do that now.
Okay, you get on there.
Okay, so like I said, I underestimated Eastern Washington a little bit. They are a better football team than I gave them credit for, especially with a backup that actually looks extremely competent.
Oh, yeah.
But the Cats win by 14. That is more points than UC Davis could win by. That is more points than Idaho could win by. And that is more points than Montana could win by. It's still within the Big Sky, the biggest win against Eastern Washington. I thought it would be a little bit more, and if it were in Bobcat Stadium, I still think it would have been a lot more. But Eastern Washington is a frisky football team, and we had been saying that all year. They're a frisky football team. They're in games. They can score points. They have extremely talented skill position players, and I still feel like this is a quality win. I still feel like this was, if you pay attention to social media, this was another one of those quote unquote trap games. Oh, Eastern Washington is good. Oh, it's on the Red Inferno. Oh, there's all these different things about
competitive
why the
going on.
Bobcats will not win this game or will get upset or whatever.
Yep.
But they still came out, and it may have been close for 3 quarters,
Yep.
but when it counted, the good team walked away.
Yeah, they closed out the game. It was a textbook way to close out that type of game because it was a shootout up until the fourth quarter, and then the defense stepped up and started doing their job and like closed them down, forced them to punts, 2 turnover on downs. Like the fourth quarter was amazing by the defense. The offense went out there. Tommy had his massive run,
Yeah.
76 yards on that bad boy, where he looked like he could run away from every single person on the planet with how fast he was going. And then also, once again, when the game is on the line and a play needed to be made, it was Tommy and Ty again.
Yep. Yep.
The only 2 close games we've had this season, clutch plays by Ty McCullough and clutch plays by Tommy. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I mean, this was the first actual test of this team since New Mexico. I mean, it's still, I mean, I know the game got tied after halftime,
Mm-hmm.
but it still didn't feel like it, I guess. I mean,
No.
I never felt worried. I mean, Montana State is an extremely good football team. And I think the point I'm trying to make is that, in our interview with, I think it was Ty, they said, we know that we're everybody's Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
The Cats have a target on their back, and within the Big Sky, all anybody wants to do is upset them. That's
Yep.
it. They want to upset the Cats. That's the only goal. They're going to play the Cats harder than anyone else.
Yep.
And it still wasn't enough.
Yeah. It's it's and it's this part of the schedule. We knew that this part of the schedule
Yeah.
was where things were going to get a little bit tighter. So still pulling out a 2-score win in this game is pretty huge.
Yeah.
Would I have loved to see Eastern Washington score less points in this game? It would be awesome. But at the same time, it's like they still handled business and they controlled the entire game. They led the entire game outside of being tied, and it felt like the Cats were firmly in control of the game. And there was a couple penalties in this game for the Cats, but it didn't feel like it was an issue,
The
you know?
only issue with the reffing that I am entirely sick of watching Brody Grebe get held constantly.
Mm-hmm.
There was a play, and this was actually Zach Cruz,
Yeah.
where the offensive lineman for Eastern Washington, Zach Cruz just cruised past him, no pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
And the offensive lineman for Eastern Washington literally put his arm all the way over and grabbed a hold of him, and they wouldn't even call that. I mean, it was
Yeah.
right in front
Yeah.
of the ref. I'm right in front of him. And I cannot understand how they miss this constantly.
Mm-hmm.
If Brody doesn't get held, he's gonna tear things up.
I
But
think,
they just let it go,
yeah.
or they aren't watching. I don't know.
I think the refs are so blinded by that red field that they just can't call holding.
Yeah,
You know, that's what it looked like in this game because there did seem like there was a ton of holding going on by Eastern Washington and nothing got called. If it doesn't get called both ways, cool. We're gonna have a very physical game and we're gonna go at it and whatever.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's like you're severely hampering this defense, who a large part of it, but not everything, is the defensive line.
yeah,
You know, they put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks and they do a lot for that defense. The secondary is playing pretty well. It's tough to guard Efton Chisholm, holding him to what it was, 78 yards, I think. Something like that.
yeah,
That is a task, you know? When you hold him to 78 yards and 1 touchdown, that is a good game playing against Efton Chisholm,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, we're used to seeing triple digits for Efton Chisholm on a weekly basis.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I do feel like the Bobcat defense, especially the secondary, did their job
Yeah.
for the most part. They played extremely well. Um, they were honestly, Eastern Washington was very effective rushing the ball. They were able to, especially this quarterback has wheels.
Oh yeah.
He's
He was
got
quick.
their starting quarterback is not he's not this dynamic of a runner. And honestly, this backup quarterback is as good, if not maybe a little better in the passing game.
He
I mean,
he looked pretty good.
he made some stupid decisions that when he threw that pick, but he had some lasers that
Oh
were
yeah,
on point.
threw some dots out there.
Yeah. But his legs were the reason that their rushing attack was so effective.
Yeah,
That he's a very, very skilled runner. And I think it took a little time for the Bobcats to adjust to it,
yeah.
but they finally did and, basically shut their offense down. Now, the big thing to me about this is this reminded me of New Mexico a little bit.
Okay.
It's it it seemed it just seemed like the Cats were a bit out of rhythm,
Hmm.
which I think is, I mean, I know buys are great and it allows a team to get healthy and whatever, practice and all that. But I do think it affects rhythm.
Yeah, it could. I think that would be a big part of the first half there.
I mean, if you look at like baseball, starting pitchers don't like if they don't get their 5 days rest.
Yeah,
They like to if you try to go a 6 person rotation,
yeah,
they don't starting pitchers don't like that.
yeah.
They like to be in a 5 person rotation with the same amount of rest in between each start all season long. And I mean, I'm not a football player, so I can't swear to this, but I feel like if you get out of the rhythm for a week, especially the way the Bobcats were humming there
Oh
going
yeah.
into the bye. I
I mean,
mean,
they looked so dangerous in every single game. But I feel like that's why it was a little bit shocking today. Was just like, okay, we're in a game where it's actually tied,
yeah,
and we're in the second half. Like the
yeah,
starters are still on the field. We are not familiar with that this season, and it's not the worst thing in the world.
no,
We know. We were just talking about it right after the game. We know the internet's going to go wild with this game.
yeah,
We
yeah,
know everybody, all the naysayers, everybody is going to go wild with this game.
yep,
But the thing is like you brought up how much Brody and those guys were getting held, Brody and Zach and
yeah,
a couple others, and Alec Eckert still got through there.
oh yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because if you can try and take out two guys on the defensive line, and we still gonna have a dude coming through because the depth is still there.
this might have been Eckert's coming out game.
Oh yeah, he played a
He
very good game.
he was more of a force this game than I've seen. I think this might have been the time where he said, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah,
I
could have
think
been, could have been.
honestly, like there was one play, it was a run up the middle, and he blew through his guy and then did like this sideways jump and just wrapped up the guy around his shoulders and brought him back before he got across the line of scrimmage. It was one of the most athletic plays I've seen.
Mhm.
And I was like, who in the hell is that? Had to look it up and it was Alec Eckert.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, damn, man,
Yeah.
where have you been?
I mean, he's been around. He's been doing some things this season, but we didn't see a game like today. We
Yeah,
have not seen a game like today up until now, and we were kind of looking around for it, but also happy pretty much with the way he's performing.
yeah.
Um, the Hulk. Also, shout out to Alec Eckert, the Hulk, because he followed us on Instagram this week. I don't even know if I
Oh,
told you about this yet.
let's go. You did not.
We do have a lot of new listeners out there now and
Yeah.
a lot of new followers,
Yeah.
so we appreciate that.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Ty.
Thanks, Ty. Yeah, it was none of us. They might delete us right after this episode, but Ty got us a little bump there
Yeah,
for a minute.
Um, as far as like positionally goes, Tommy Malott played a very, very, very effective game. He threw an unfortunate interception,
Mhm.
a very strange thing for him to do that.
I was just like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but regardless, I feel like the Bobcats are in really good shape when Tommy's making reads.
Yeah.
He is insanely smart. When that was one of those triple options or whatever,
Yep.
I believe, of course, we are not football guys, just
I
fans.
mean, we're football guys, but we're
Football
not
guys.
football guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We are not football players
Yeah. We don't really
in
know anything
any
about
sense.
the X's and O's, but
Yeah.
we know
We have an
the
IT
Jimmies and
guy and a
Joes.
rancher. We are not
Yeah.
football people.
Yeah.
So it was I feel like it was a triple option, might not have been, but he, fakes the handoff and then drops back like he's going to pass and then takes off running for that big long touchdown.
Yeah.
When he has the ability to decide what to do,
Yeah.
decide if he wants to take a hit, decide if he wants to throw it, I feel like that's when Tommy's the most dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
When they give him full control of what to do with that offense and those skill players, I feel like that's when he's the most dangerous.
Also, the little throwback to the Utah Tech game. I believe that was a similar option play that they ran where he ran for like a 46-yard touchdown there.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying, guys, if we play this like NCAA football,
Yeah.
let's just run that play every time. Because that's the go get a touchdown play.
Yeah.
We should
And
just go for that play.
and when I'm playing Ben on NCAA football, I just run jet sweeps because he
Jet
can't
sweeps.
stop them.
Can't stop. Don't know how to switch the defense to where it'll stop a jet sweep. I'm very blank on that one. It's not my skills.
Yeah.
It's not my skills set.
Yeah.
Offensive guy, not a defensive guy.
But overall, I feel like Tommy had another incredible game, and
Yeah.
we don't win without him. So, I even with that interception, I have absolutely no complaints about Tommy's game. I feel like he did exactly
Yeah.
what he. I mean, we went out there and put up 42 points against Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
Which apparently is not a terrible team, even though they are 2-7.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's a lot of teams like that in the Big Sky right now.
yeah.
There's a lot of dangerous teams with really bad records.
Just before you say anything else,
Yeah.
Portland State is winning 51-38 over Sac State. Sac State are frauds. I've said that all season.
Has to say it again.
Our trap game, Portland State,
Yep.
is beating Sac State by
a lot.
yeah.
By a lot. It's a lot of points.
And Portland State currently has the ball, so that game is over. So
Yeah. We got that.
yeah.
The thing I love about Tommy in these situations is that even when he makes those mistakes, we saw it in New Mexico. It has a couple fumbles, makes a couple mistakes, but he turns around so quickly and gets
Yeah.
it back for you. Like he throws that pick and then he runs for this massive touchdown, or he makes some huge play and completely redeems himself.
What's
You
what's the movie where he tells you to think of like a goldfish?
No, that's Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Yeah,
Ted
my
Lasso,
favorite
the
show ever.
favorite show. Tommy is a goldfish.
Yep.
Tommy's a goldfish. He doesn't dwell on things.
Yep.
He
No.
just turns around, makes a great play.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Yeah. No. Tommy played exactly how I wanted Tommy to play.
Mm-hmm.
Rushing, another stellar day on the ground, over 300 yards of rushing.
Yep.
Scotty looked fantastic. Adam Jones was just bull rushing dudes.
Yep.
Tommy had a great day on the ground. The offensive line did exactly what they always do. I mean, we obviously don't give them enough love, but I mean, we were still gashing these guys big time.
It was huge.
Massive holes.
Yeah. We saw the return of Orange Julius Davis.
Yeah.
He got out there, ran for a first down on his first rush. I believe that was his first rush of the entire game.
Very
At least
first
it was
touch.
the one that
very first
he
touch.
touches the ball, gets a first down. I was like, okay, he's back. What's up? And then I'm like, it's kind of frustrating that we got so much talent.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating that we're switching around.
Was a little surprised he didn't come in on the one touchdown where Scott Dre, where it was a 1 yard.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they'd put Julius in for that, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Also working back into shape, I'm sure, like a lot of rehab going on. I'm not saying Julius is out of shape, because I don't think that man exists in any way, shape, or form that is not in shape.
But if you watch that game on the TV, I mean, all you saw was the hype man, the juice.
Yeah.
over on the
Yep.
sideline,
Juicing everybody
dapping
up.
his dudes up as they came off the field. He was just as amped as everyone else for
Yep.
everyone else to get in the end zone except for him.
Mhm.
So, shout out to Julius Davis for being back. I can only imagine what this man's got in store for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be pretty beautiful
Oh, it
because
is.
we're gonna have ourselves an orange Julius Davis game that people have forgotten about,
Yes,
and he's gonna
it's
go
coming.
off, and it's
It's
gonna
coming.
be a thing of beauty.
Yes. Yeah. Um, so yeah, the rushing attack was beautiful.
Mhm.
As far as receivers go, our guy, Ty McCullough,
Yeah.
what else do we have to say? 61-yard touchdown pass.
When it mattered.
It was a beautiful throw and a beautiful catch. And in Ty McCullough's own words on our podcast, he
Yeah.
said he was old.
Yeah.
He did not look old.
He did not look old.
That man burned everybody.
He looked fast.
He was so fast.
He looks fast.
Oh my gosh.
He makes fast people look not fast.
Damn,
You
I
know?
thought he had flames coming off of those cleats.
Yeah. There's so much speed across this roster.
Jeez.
It is pretty insane. The amount of guys that you can just hand the ball to and then they just run away from every single person on the
Yeah.
face of the earth is insane.
Yeah. And I guess if we're going to keep on the receiving game, we got to talk
Yeah.
about Taco.
Ooh, Taco had
So-
himself a little bit of a game.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah. A lot of receptions. Yardage was a little down, but a
Before-
lot of receptions.
Before we get into this,
Yeah.
should we talk about the horse pucky?
The horse pucky.
Yeah.
The horse pucky. I
Horse
was
pucky.
feeling some horse pucky at the end of the first half.
Ben
Okay.
called it. Ben called it.
I called it immediately. The way they overturned that catch that Taco had at the end of the half did not make me happy.
No.
Because I was like, I don't know if the refs had other angles that we couldn't see.
Especially because the volume cut out on the TV.
That
and you
also
could-
happened
You
too.
could not hear anything.
Yeah.
So any kind of like argument from any of the announcers, or I don't even know who else would have been on there, but you couldn't hear anything the
Yeah.
whole time.
Shout out to Cheney for having terrible production staff. You know?
Yeah,
They
great
have,
guys.
They have Ben Christian's quality production over there in Cheney. You know. But the thing was, from those camera angles, you cannot tell whether or not it was a catch.
But
you
they claimed that they had enough to overturn it. It was horse pucky.
It was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. Not happy with that.
I was not. He should have some more yards.
He should have
He
had
should
that
have
catch.
12 more yards
it-
and one more catch.
It should have been a drive down the field. I mean that because that would have been a a
Field
very
goal.
good a good chance to score right before the half.
Yeah.
But instead we had to just go into half. Horse pucky. Taco caught it.
Horse pucky. Also, Taco, just so you know, in the Cats Pod record books, we're counting that catch.
Yes.
So whenever your stats come out, like at the end of your career, just know there's 12 more yards and one more reception on there
Yes.
in our books.
Taco 3 for 30 and a touchdown.
I thought he had way more than 3 receptions.
Well, 4.
Oh, that's why.
By Catspod books.
In the beginning of that game, it seemed like he was getting a ton of receptions. That does surprise me that it was only 3. In our minds, 4. You know,
I feel like we should talk about how sticky Taco's hands are.
they're pretty sticky.
I'm not sure if
I don't
it's
know what you're
the
trying to say
salsa.
about this guy.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's some sugar in his salsa. Maybe
There's
some fruit.
There's some
Maybe it's
I don't
mango.
know.
I'm not
He's-
sure.
He's got it covered in the taco sauce, but
Yeah.
it's more like a mango chutney.
But
You know,
that football sticks to that kid's hands.
it does.
It's very sticky hands.
Very sticky hands.
But-
And a sticky shoulder pad and everything on that one catch.
Yeah. 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 But as far as the offense went, I really thought the offense was clicking here.
Yeah.
It
was a solid
seemed
game.
really good, aside from one minor interception.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong at all.
Yeah.
Adam Jones, I feel like that guy was running with a mission in this game. I mean, he was lowering the shoulder pad, dealing some damage to some dudes.
Oh yeah.
Scored a touchdown, a very nice touchdown.
Oh yeah. All over it.
Yeah. Just once again, Tommy threw the ball to, let's see, 8 different receivers,
Yep.
13 completions, 8 different receivers.
It's wild.
That's awfully impressive.
You can't spread the ball out much more. He had 13 passes with 13 different receivers. That's the only way you spread the
No.
ball around anymore.
I mean, he only
know?
lacked 5. I mean, it just so happened that Taimakawa, Rohan, and Taco were the multi-catch guys.
Yeah. And that's the way it happened in some of these games. I really wanted to check these box scores because I couldn't remember or not whether or not you hit your Rohan bet.
Mm.
And I'm sorry to say that you haven't.
Yeah.
You know.
If anybody was tailing me, I do apologize for my bet.
Bad day.
Both of them. I still think I am a little surprised the Rohan one didn't hit.
Yeah.
I thought
he was cooking at the beginning of the game.
with the starter staying in the whole game, I thought that Rohan was gonna just go nuts.
Yeah.
And the spread I do think should have hit, and I think we can all say that it would have hit if it was in Bobcat Stadium.
Oh yeah.
17.5, I think, was pretty darn fair.
It turned out to be a pretty fair line
Yeah.
at the end of the day. I thought it looked pretty juicy initially. I didn't place any bets on this game, but at the same time, it's like 17.5 is the lowest spread we've seen outside of the Idaho game.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to go for it when you got those opportunities.
Before we get into the defense on this game, I need to get something off my chest here.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah, this is
is
not pleasant, okay?
Okay.
I am so pissed off at Montana Sports Bet right now.
Okay.
These guys are the biggest joke in the entire world.
Mm-hmm. As we've said.
Yeah. I found on Montana Sports Bet the juiciest thing I have ever seen. And that was an over-under at 59.5. So I live and work a long ways away from the nearest sports bet terminal.
Mhm.
Thank you, Montana Sports Bet, for doing it this way. It's so convenient.
Yeah. I want to lose more money, Montana Sports Bet.
Yeah.
We want to give you more money. Let us give you more money.
So this is at 4:15 on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I called my wife, who works in Conrad, to go after she got off work to stop by the terminal to put in my bets for me.
I don't know why you do that to your wife.
I know.
That's spousal abuse to
She-
send somebody to use one of those machines.
I know. But she's a beautiful woman and she loves me. So she did it.
it.
Anyway,
Oh my! If I asked my wife to go place bets for me, do you know how fast she would tell me to step off?
Brooke only did it because Montana State treated me so good last week.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You also do win sometimes. I
Yeah.
only lose, so
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm not going to give away our money. You know, you can give it away sometimes, but
Yeah.
I'm not giving it away."
Yeah. So I had some winning tickets that she could just scan. Didn't have to get cash or anything.
Yep.
She could just scan them and replace the bet for me. So 45 minutes after I found this bet, she is at the terminal and I'm walking her through because it's very confusing. So I'm trying to walk her through it
terrible.
as best I can. And in 45 minutes, they took it away. It was completely grayed out.
They always do that.
45
I don't know
minutes,
why
man.
they do that. Why do you do this, Montana Sports Bet? We want to bet. We love to bet.
I
But
was
you have
so
to make
mad.
it terrible.
I was so mad about it. I mean, 45 minutes. I couldn't. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't get to the nearest sports bet terminal in less amount of time.
Yeah.
So I was really pissed off about that, and I hate them more than ever right now
Yeah.
because that spread or that point total,
Destroyed.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
That's the winner, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that got away.
I was
Sucks.
yeah, I was very very upset
It's
about
terrible.
that. Okay, anyway, back to actual things that matter.
Back to actual football.
Yeah.
You know.
The defense. this was an interesting game from the defense because it wasn't quite what we have come to expect from them.
Yep.
And I think maybe we saw the very first bit of, uh, should I say, hangover from the loss of some of our stars.
Yeah.
Uh,
That could be it.
we didn't see that at all at Portland State, like not even at all.
Yeah.
But this time, I think this is the first time we saw a little bit of growing pains, and I'm emphasizing little bit
Yeah.
because they did end up getting it all together.
Oh yeah.
It took a little time, but they did end up breaking out of that little bit of, should we call it a funk?
Oh yeah. For sure.
Neil Daly, Bryce Greavy looks like that's kind of an even timeshare,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say? Looked like they were both out there a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought both played very well. I thought Neil Daly
Yeah.
kind of impressed again. But the number one thing that kind of jumped out to me here is that Brody Greavy and Zach Cruz continue to harass the quarterback. I mean, I know I already touched on it a little bit, but there is so much holding that goes on these guys that I'm not even sure what to say at this point. Like, how do we get a ref to just watch them? Because every time you look at Zach Cruz, his jersey is pulled over the top of his shoulder pads. They're just flopping around. I mean, it's literally pulled, the jersey's pulled up into his neck, and his shoulder pad is just flopping around. I mean, what more do we have to ask for from these refs to just watch it? I mean, and this is Zach Cruz. What are they doing to Brody?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, how much more can these guys do without completely getting held 24/7? I mean, I'm
Mhm.
so sick of watching every play and just getting, and you can rewind it on the TV and watch it again. And they're just grabbing a hold of jerseys. They're ripping it off their damn body. I mean, it's infuriating.
Yeah. It's tough to watch every single week. And it's amazing that plays are still made
Yeah.
on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You know? Um, I cannot believe the way that these guys can battle through some of those things.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't talked about we talked a little bit about Scott Trey, but Scott Trey also had himself a little bit of a day.
Yeah.
He's scored, what is it, 11 touchdowns on the season now?
Yeah, something like
Or
that. It's a
12.
lot.
I think it's 12 touchdowns
12.
on the season. He's getting in the end zone a lot and still played an amazing game today.
Yeah. Yeah, 5.2 average. Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad.
But this whole holding thing is just, I don't know how much more I can take of this before I just absolutely blow my top and complain to everybody that, doesn't matter at all compare in the grand scheme of things. Everyone just has to hear me complain.
We are going to
So-
write a strongly worded letter to the Big Sky Conference.
Yeah. Yes, a very strongly worded letter.
Get off Brody Greavy.
I did think that the secondary had an above average game for them, and they've been very good.
Yeah.
I really thought, because in the first half especially, I
Yep.
felt like we didn't get the pressure that we needed to get,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because of holding. But alas, the quarterback had some time to throw the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and he really didn't do that much.
Yeah.
He had some really nice throws.
Yeah.
Some completions that were kind of frustrating, but the secondary really played well. There was lots of good coverage. We got an interception, especially toward the end of the game. Those guys they were playing way above what we've seen in the past weeks.
Yeah.
They've been good, but in the fourth quarter of this game, they were great.
Yeah. We said it earlier too. Like, that quarterback had a pretty impressive game himself. Because there was a few of those passes where it was like, okay, we've got this guy dead to rights, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden he would sling it out, off platform throw, right to the guy he's going for, And he did a pretty good job of it. I mean, looking at the numbers that Eastern Washington put up, I don't know what their season averages are like, but I feel like the Cats still held them below their season averages for yardage and
Oh,
things of that sort.
they put up like 600 yards of offense against the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
I mean, it was absolutely insane. Passing, rushing. I know it was a different quarterback, but this quarterback didn't look a whole lot different, but
Yep.
he was better rushing.
Yep.
Like that Vesperis is not as good at running the ball as I don't even know what this guy's name was, but this guy was better at rushing the ball,
Yep.
and his arm was just as talented.
Oh yeah.
They have a very good quarterback situation.
Oh yeah.
Very good. But this is where I'm going to take a break and I'm going to shout out Drew Polidor.
Yeah.
This cat is playing his brain out. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he's leaving it all on the field. I'm not sure I've seen a safety with the open field tackle ability that he
Mhm.
has. He does, if he is near you, you are not getting away from him.
No.
He is getting you down or at least slowing you up long enough that help it showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't miss these things.
No.
He got an interception.
Yeah.
I mean, we lose Caden and he's here to spark this team. I mean, this guy's a real deal.
He
Drew
looked
Polidor
so
is good.
dangerous, and he has huge plays throughout the game.
Yeah.
And he'll just fly out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden he's taking a dude's head off. And it's like, this is what we've been waiting for. Just with Drew Polidor
Yeah.
coming back, after his injury,
Yeah.
getting back into the game. This is exactly the thing that we were waiting for with Drew Polidor. And he's lived up to every single little bit of hype we could have given him coming back,
Yeah.
being the staple of that secondary. Like, amazing stuff.
We always gush over Rylan Ort.
Yeah.
Always. Every week we're always giving a spiel about Rylan Ort.
Mm-hmm.
And this week it's time for Drew Polidor to get his love because this guy is he takes, considering what we've lost on this defense,
Mm-hmm.
he takes us, he keeps us right where we were.
Yep.
The addition of him. We stay where we are because he is making insane plays.
Yep.
I'm so impressed with that guy, what that guy's done
Mm-hmm.
in his short little stint back from injury. And thank God he's healthy.
Yeah.
Thank God. Because we need him real bad.
One thing I just remembered looking through these stats was the very beginning of this game, which offered a pretty big surprise for me.
The very first bit of horse pucky, wasn't it?
No, I'm not talking about the horse pucky, but just the surprise I had when Rohan Jones was the one returning the kick.
Oh, yeah.
He's back there to return the kick. I'm like, is this guy's just doing everything now?
Yeah.
He goes back there and he returns kicks as well.
Yeah.
How many teams have a tight end doing kick return?
It's awfully impressive. And we did learn from our interview with Marcus that he was Maine's punt returner.
Oh yeah, he was. Yep.
So
You're right.
we do know, and
Kick return or punt return. I can't
and that's
remember
what
which one.
both Marcus and Ty said was this guy has elite speed.
Oh, yeah.
Elite. Like it's kind of freaky how fast this guy is. So we kind of did know that, but now we're seeing just how elite the speed is, considering he's the kick returner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, number 8, that's Rohan.
Yeah.
What is going on right now?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was even an option.
Yeah. Last phase of the team would be special teams, and we saw some brilliance from Brendan Hall.
Yeah.
Absolute masterclass, and it once again very limited.
Yeah.
But he had a punt. I can't even remember when it was, but he booted that thing a long ways, and it took a bounce in front of the returner,
Mhm.
and he ended up catching it and getting nailed immediately on the 10-yard line. It was beautiful.
Pinned him back deep.
Yeah.
Didn't Brendan Hall also kind of half get a tackle?
Yeah, he did.
He
There
did
was
because there was the one return that came back a little ways, and I was like, Brendan Hall was in on that. I don't know if that counts as a
Yeah.
quarter tackle, but
no, I think it was 100% him. He took him out.
okay. There's a
he-
lot of people around the ball. It was a quick play.
Yeah,
you know?
he took him out of bounds. I mean, the chances you getting through a guy who is he's 6'9"?
6'9"?
Yeah.
Brendan
6'9".
Hall?
Yeah, he's
Damn.
6'9". Yeah,
Yeah.
just so you know.
Hmm.
But that punt specifically was a beauty.
It was.
It was like
It was
exactly
nice.
what you wanted in that situation. And the way they got that guy on the 10-yard line, I feel like sparked a little bit,
Mhm.
brought some momentum in because I mean those guys were freaking hype.
Oh yeah.
And was
What other teams are getting jacked up for their punter?
yeah. Well,
What other teams are just really going hard for their punter?
if you don't love your punter, you're a bad fan.
If you don't love your punter, why are you watching football?
You're a bad
You
fan.
know?
Okay? Maybe because their punter isn't 6'9".
Yeah, if your punter was 6'9", you probably love him.
And maybe if
Your
your punter
little
could kick it 65 yards,
your
you'd love it.
little measly 6'1" punter. You walking in here with this measly 6'1" dude
With your chicken legs.
with your chicken legged 6'1" punter. Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
We got Brendan Hall.
We got Brendan Hall with ox legs
Yes.
kicking the ball 65 yards,
Yep.
but not 65 yards because the play didn't call for a
780
yards.
yards. You know.
Yeah, 780
You know,
yards.
you know.
No, Brendan Hall put on a masterclass once
Yeah.
again. Our field goal kicker was perfect.
Mhm.
This is new to us. It is new.
It's new.
I'm really enjoying it.
It is nice.
A perfect, I mean, 6 for 6 extra points, no field goal attempts, but
No field goal attempts.
6 for 6
Almost
extra
had
points.
one. You know.
We've been calling them automatic for a few weeks now, and it holds true yet again.
Still money miles.
Yeah, money
Money
miles.
miles. Welcome to the chat. You're sticking around.
I'm so happy.
It's honestly, I'm still very happy with this team. I am still firmly away from any type of panic whatsoever. We played a slightly closer team, but the competition's getting better this second half of the season. We've talked about it a lot.
Well,
You know, and we knew there was gonna be tighter games. But when you have a tight game and you still win by 2 scores, you gotta be pretty happy with it.
and I think that competition isn't even getting better as we go. I think that the competition has been better all season in general. I think the Big Sky is better in a sense that the lower teams are a little bit higher. I mean, there's still the lower teams Cal Poly is Cal Poly. Northern Colorado, sorry, Ben, is still Northern Colorado.
Had to
But
do it to me.
they are just a little bit better than they were last year.
Mhm.
But the next tier, the Northern Arizonas, the Eastern Washingtons,
Mhm.
are Idaho States.
Yeah.
They are, I think, substantially better.
Any Saturday they can be a very dangerous team.
Yeah,
You know, none of these teams you can overlook. You know, there's a lot of quality across the entire Big Sky, even though just like the Missouri Valley, it beats itself up.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I just coming out of this game, we beat Eastern Washington on their home field worse than Idaho, UC Davis, and Montana.
and it's also the longest streak of us beating Eastern Washington in the history of the rivalry,
And
or not rivalry, but the matchup.
the biggest win.
Yeah,
The biggest win we've
biggest
had in
win
20
in 20
years.
years.
Yeah.
But we have won 4 games in a row against Eastern Washington, which is the longest ever.
So what I take away from this game is that I think this was, I don't even want to call it a wake-up call because it really wasn't, but it gave the Cats somewhat maybe a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
that I feel like maybe they need it,
Mm-hmm.
because winning every single week by a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
the starters haven't played in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Since New Mexico. They have not played in the fourth quarter since New Mexico
Yeah.
in a single game until today.
Yep.
And I really think that's kind of what this team needed. We're going into the stretch run.
Mm-hmm.
We have UC Davis, Sac State, fraud, and Montana coming up. We got 3 really tough games coming up,
Mm-hmm.
except for Sac State, fraud.
Exactly.
So we have 2 tough games.
Yeah. 2 tough games
Yeah.
coming up. 1 not so tough game.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a spark the Cats needed, because like you said earlier, the naysayers, oh, they're gonna eat this one up.
They're coming out.
It doesn't matter.
They're hungry. The Cats haven't given them much
Yeah.
to feed on this year. So they're hungry.
It doesn't
They're
matter.
going after it.
It doesn't matter that the Cats beat them by more than anyone else,
No. Nobody.
aside from FBS.
Yep.
That doesn't matter.
Nope.
They're gonna come after us. And congratulations, Bobcats. You're the underdogs again. They're coming after you.
I don't know how it's still
Yep.
an underdog situation, especially on the national scale. I think we get a lot more respect
Yeah.
in the Big Sky Conference, but I don't feel a lot of respect when it comes to the
No.
rest of the FCS.
No.
I think that they are severely overlooking the Bobcats, and I think the Bobcats are going to take very good advantage of that this year.
Yep. I absolutely love the narrative of the Cats being the underdog,
Mhm.
because everyone loves to hate the great ones.
Yeah.
They always hate the great ones. And this team is full of great ones. And I'm here to tell you, they're going to ride this
Mhm.
all the way, as long as they possibly can, because everybody loves to hate the great ones.
Can we talk about one thing real quick? How is Montana State's team hateable in any way? Usually, when you have these teams that are undefeated and hated by a bunch of people across the country, they at least have one dude who is like a major tool
That's a really
that you
great
look
question.
at and you would go like, okay, yeah, I hate that guy. Like the Grayson Allen effect, basically.
That's
You got
a
one dude that sucks, so
yeah.
everybody hates the team. But there's nobody on this team that is not a class act.
If any of the listeners need an example of what Ben's talking about other than Grayson Allen, it would be Robbie Hauk.
Yeah, yeah. You had to bring him up 2 weeks in a row. Okay, yeah. We don't have anybody who's even near we don't have anybody in the same stratosphere when it comes to hateability
No.
as Robbie Howe.
And the reason this question that you bring up is so interesting is because last year the Bobcats were the media darling.
Yeah.
There wasn't, or at least I didn't see the hate on the Bobcats last year. It honestly seemed like they were the media kind of loved them.
Yeah.
And this year, I'm not saying it's the media that doesn't love them, because obviously they're number 2.
I mean,
and they're going to stay number 2.
That's the
And
thing. People who know what they're talking about are respecting them.
yeah,
You know? Samuel Akim, a guy that played for the Grizzlies, every single week is talking about how Montana State is, if not the best, one of the best teams in the country.
yeah,
FCS fans nation, giving the Bobcats love,
yep.
everything like that. But the rest of the peoples,
Yeah,
the
man.
rest of the peoples,
There is so much hate out
It's
there,
terrible.
and I understand that it's probably mostly Grizzly fans, but at some point, when does your hate, Grizzly fans, become fuel for the team that you hate so much?
you're making them better. And
Because
we've probably done the same thing in the opposite direction.
because we haven't even brought up the Grizzlies one time in this podcast, but I feel like now might be the time to do that.
Okay.
How's that Weber State loss looking?
It's not looking great.
No, they just got smoked by Northern Arizona.
Yeah.
How's that North Dakota lost looking not great. Oh no, they got smoked by the worst team in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the weird thing about rankings and everything and how you take schedule into account. And Weber State is apparently trash. I wouldn't have
I don't
guessed that.
know.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Man, Weber State, like we've talked about before, is always the weirdest
Ben,
team to
stop.
figure out.
You're talking about the team that lost to Northern Colorado.
I know, but at the same time, they play really good games sometimes, but they also lose terrible games.
Yeah.
I don't understand Weber State.
No.
Weber State has been an enigma for the last 2 seasons. What is going to happen where they actually make sense?
I don't know. But I mean, this is the funny thing about the FCS. I mean, the FCS as a whole, because I feel like the FBS, they don't take these kind of things into consideration.
No.
The Grizzly fans hate the Cats because they're doing extremely well, so they're just going to talk trash about them 24/7.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the Grizzlies dropped 2 games against what at the time we thought were good teams, but right now are
Not looking as good.
no, they are not good.
Yeah.
They're not good teams.
Yeah. I really believed in UND at the beginning of the season. I really wanted them to be good.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say that they're not good, but at the same time, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. And we're not going to dive too deep into these games because we're going to cover that during the week.
Oh yeah,
But it's funny how these things work,
it just all balances out.
But bottom line is the Bobcats, they got tested.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
We knew that Eastern Washington had a great offense.
You know
we
what?
knew they were going to put some points on the board.
You know what this game reminds me of? Today's game?
What?
Sac State last year.
It's a very good comparison.
Sac State ran with us for 3 quarters and then we pulled away.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened, except for I feel like instead of the defense locking down,
Mm-hmm.
last year it was more the offense just did it.
Yeah.
And this year the offense did it, but the defense totally locked down. I mean, in that fourth quarter, I should look up the splits to see what the yardages were for Eastern Washington in the fourth quarter, but it was abysmal.
Yeah.
Aside from that last drive.
Yeah. They didn't
That
get
last garbage time
anything.
drive, which they didn't get anything off anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what this game reminds me of.
Mhm.
And now we can move on from this.
You can.
And we have my
Your least favorite team, and we're going to be there to see it.
we are.
Just so everybody knows, next weekend we will be in Bozeman. This is one of the games we actually get to watch in person, which will be
Yeah.
fun.
And unfortunately, Ben's gold jersey he will be wearing.
I have to wear the gold jersey again. I was going to wear a different jersey,
But he might be covered up in a jacket because it might not be that warm.
no, that's the thing. I'm going to go hoodie and jersey over
smart
the
guy.
hoodie, you
Smart
know?
guy.
Smart guy. Yeah. Big brain.
But yeah,
Big
we
head, big
will be
brain.
down there for Sac State and on our home field, the Frauds.
Yep.
If you think I will bet anything other than the spread,
Yeah.
sorely mistaken.
Yeah. I
Sorely
could
mistaken.
imagine that they could set the spread at 50 and I think you'd still bet it.
Oh, yeah.
With the amount that you hate these guys.
There hasn't been a single game all season I haven't bet the spread.
I know.
Not a single one.
Sticking by them.
And I've only lost twice. New Mexico and today.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
I don't consider it too bad.
Yeah.
This is the first time I haven't walked away with any money.
Yeah. It was a rough day for you.
Yeah.
But every once in a while you got to have those rough weeks.
Yeah. But I'd gladly sacrifice money for a Cat win. So
Yeah.
To wrap up,
Yeah.
I think we're in an extremely good position going into next week. We finally got tested a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Cats got to play a full 4 quarters of football
Yep.
for the first time since New Mexico. And I can't imagine anything better to get you prepared for the stretch run.
Yeah. They handled business. They did what they had to do. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks to everybody who's new to the show. for
Yeah,
coming in here.
absolutely.
We've gotten a lot more follows and everything throughout this week. We really appreciate that. If you would go ahead and rate us 5 stars wherever you are listening to this at, we really appreciate that. Um, Also, follow us on Instagram, follow us on X. Both those are at CatsPod. Hope you guys have a great week. We will catch you guys on Wednesday, and then we will see you in Bozeman on Saturday.
Adios.